Hello, what's up, everyone? How's everybody doing?
Hey,
Welcome to the podcast. I'm trying to figure out. Is anybody else having an issue with pop-out chat on YouTube? I wonder if anybody in the chat's having an issue with it because
I actually never tried it.
I can't.
I use it all the time.
I can't get it to work for me. I'm hitting it and nothing is happening.
That's weird. Mine's working right now.
Yeah, I just tried it and it works for me. So
it's so strange because I actually even turned off all my add-ons or whatever. It's still not doing it. So not sure what's wrong with it. Okay. Anyway, hello everyone. Welcome to the stream. We're going to be talking about the Spider-Man animated trailer or teaser, I guess, for Across the Spiderverse Part 1. Give our thoughts on that. And then we're going to talk about Hawkeye Episode 3. I almost put Episode 2 in the title. Then I'm like, wait, we got 2 episodes on the first day. So this is technically it's Episode 3. So anyway, got very confused on there. We do have a super chat unrelated to Marvel, which I will answer now from T-Bear, who's a Team Eric member. It says, so I watched the Flash episode from last week with subtitles. To clarify, Cecile says she knows Barry almost better than anyone. I saw you guys were upset about it. I would have been too. Well, did she actually say it or did the subtitles correct that? Because if that was what was in the script, it doesn't mean that's what was said. There's a lot of times that the subtitles are written from the script and they don't actually say, like the actors will not say that. They'll say something else. It's happened quite often. Either way, yeah, I mean, you know, even saying she knows him almost better than anyone is a little weird, but we were pretty upset. It was a pretty heated conversation about that on Tuesday. So anyway, everyone, hope you're having a great weekend. It's the end of the weekend. We've been trying to play Final Fantasy. This is not related to anything, but the Final Fantasy XIV expansion, the final expansion of this particular story arc dropped this weekend for early access. And
this is pretty much the theme of the entire game.
Okay, so I have been trying to play because I got early access and let's be honest, and Cyber can even attest to this without even doing this one because it's happened with all of them. Mm-hmm. Early access is plagued with issues on almost any game you play.
Oh, yeah.
It's just It always is. You're basically beta testing for the developers. That's pretty much what early access is. But this one has been particularly bad because they weren't able to get the servers that they needed because of the semiconductor shortage.
Yeah.
And the game is at an all-time high. Like it's more popular now than it ever has been. It's the most popular. And it's the expansion that ends the story that everybody had been playing all along. So if you're a player that dropped out like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you're like, wait a minute, I want to see the end of the story. So
a lot of people are coming back.
So yeah, it's been very, very busy this weekend. I've been very frustrated. I've seen it all over the forums, all over Reddit, all over Twitter, all over everywhere. People are mad about it. And they want to be angry about it. But I'm like, they were very transparent about it.
Yeah, pretty much in terms of like launches, this has gone pretty smooth. I mean, yeah, there's issues, but not like Stormbloods.
Well,
Stormbloods was terrible.
The issue with this launch isn't the actual game itself; it's getting into the game. That's the problem. Because if you get an error message, it completely shuts down your entire launcher. You have to restart the whole launcher and sign in again every single time. But to their defense, I mean, there is a shortage for servers worldwide.
Yeah, once you get in, I have had no problems. I had no crashes or anything. Just getting in is the problem.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, with that being said, let's talk about the Spider-Man 2, animated Spider-Man 2.
Into the Spider-Verse 2.
Part 1, but 2
Into
of the
Spider-Verse
movie.
2.
Anyway, it's Spider-Man, the Miles Morales version from Into the Spider-Verse called Across the Spider-Verse. And this is more of like a teaser. I would say it's more of a teaser trailer, right?
No, I think, it doesn't tell you what's happening, but it's 2 minutes long. I mean, would you consider that a teaser? I think it's a trailer.
Because the only reason I say that is because the beginning scene between Gwen and Miles takes up like half the trailer.
It does. And it picks up right where it left off in the previous film. So,
So we get this. If you have not seen the teaser, I mean, I feel like the teaser, talk about the trailer is not really a spoiler, right? Because there is something in the trailer that's kind of cool that I want to talk about.
I mean, it's in the trailer. So
it's in the trailer.
If you're here,
right. Okay, so the big thing is this is part 1 of a 2-part storyline, which is Across the Spider-Verse, which is, I'm guessing, going to cover him leaving his Earth to go to other Earths with other Spider-Men and Spider-Women and Spider-Animals and all the different Spider people. But the big thing we get in this trailer, the exciting thing, is Spider-Man 2099 is in there. And he looks really, really, really cool.
Oh yeah,
it's
absolutely.
very exciting to see him. Did you ever watch anything related to the other Spider-Man cartoons? Because he's been in other animated Spider-Man things.
I don't know much about Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah, me either.
Well, it's Miguel O'Hara is his name. That's his alter ego, and I believe that his powers aren't exactly the same as like Peter Parker or Miles. Let me look.
Yeah, I'm having to look him up now. Yeah. Apparently came out in 92.
Yeah, he's been around for a while.
Yeah, I probably seen him here and there and just thought, oh, just another Spider-Man. I didn't know it was like his own thing. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure about everything to do with him, but he's got a genius level intellect, and so he's had his DNA rewritten with the genetic code of a spider. That's his backstory. So very, very exciting. I can't wait to see it. I just reminded when I watched it, I was like, I remember how much I loved it. What is that?
Somebody racing.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's on my side. My bad. Yeah, someone's
like,
outside.
Wait a minute.
Revenue
somebody got their 4-cylinder going.
It's very exciting to see it because I love this art style so much from the Spider-Verse movies. Like, I think this is a really good art style. It works really well. It kind of distinguishes them from the DC stuff because DC has a very specific look that it goes for. This one is more of like a mix between like stop motion and Pixar. It's really interesting.
Well, it's the frame rate, and the trailers always bother me with the frame rate because it's like a weird frame rate. It's like 38 frames or something. Like it's not 60 frames a second. But when you're in the theater, you don't really notice it. But in the trailer, I'm like, oh god, it messes with my eyes. But I love it when we went and saw it in the theater. I thought it was great.
Right. So I actually enjoyed the trailer. It's out now if you want to go watch it on YouTube. I think it came out like 2 days ago, but you can go watch it on YouTube now. It's actually really, really exciting. I'm excited for it. It comes out October of 2022. It is a part 1. So I would suspect the part 2 will come out in 2023, I'm guessing.
So here's what I'm just going to throw this out there, and this bothers me. I think Into the Spider-Verse was better than the live action Spider-Man films.
Oh, I agree.
I think it's leaps and bounds better, right?
It's my favorite Spider-Man film ever.
Out of all films, it's my favorite Spider-Man film. This trailer, has 1.4 million views, this teaser trailer. The No Way Home teaser trailer is sitting at 27 million views. Now, I know that's 3 months have passed, but on a teaser trailer, you're not seeing, like, there's a fine line where how long the teaser trailer is going to accumulate views, because the actual trailer is sitting at 28 million views. I don't understand why so many people didn't even know this teaser came out.
I didn't even know until you told me this morning.
And I think it's a much better franchise in my opinion. And I know animated doesn't always get as big of love as live action.
That's why What If suffered a bit, is because it was animated.
But I just want to say I'm super hyped for it, even though it doesn't come out till October of next year. I'm just as hyped for this as I am No Way Home. And it saddens me to see it sitting at 1.4 million views, which is great, but I would like to see it higher.
I'm curious. Let me double check real quick. Into the Spider-Verse. Wondering how much money that pulled. I don't remember what the final verdict was on that. Let's see. So worldwide, it made almost 400 million. Into the Spider-Verse animated movie. On a budget of, what was it? Have the budget listed? It doesn't have the budget listed, I don't think. No, but it made almost 400 million worldwide, just shy of 400 million. So or 400,000. Wait, no, it's
400,000. Yeah, there's no way it's 400,000.
I was like, wait a minute, what is it saying? Yeah. Okay, so yes, it is. Yeah, 400 million. Because it's like, wait a minute, it's
400,000. Like that's a failure. That's a failure. That's a failure.
But it did win a ton of awards. Like, it did really well. Like, it got a lot of accolades and stuff like that.
I mean, the amount of money a film doesn't make it better than the other, right? Because I've made my problems with Venom known, so that doesn't mean anything. With
animated movies, they actually do rely heavily on the money because of I think the animated movies are different from like regular movies in that way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, I don't base the quality on it, but I think an animated movie has to turn a profit. if it doesn't turn a profit, you're not getting a sequel for it.
Yeah,
it's just not going to happen.
Just because animation is so expensive and so it takes so long.
It really is.
Because it's like you have to make the money back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, it looks like it did really well. It did come out. So I'm wondering if do you think that they've worked on part 1 and part 2 together?
Yeah.
So
I think it's probably already done. Yeah, I think it's already done.
Yeah, it's probably just doing post-production stuff.
Interesting.
I mean, if it's already written, why not just have the actor? They're going to be in the booth anyway. Just have them read the lines out. They can animate it. I'm sure it's done. Probably.
So
maybe
someone
post stuff here.
Someone sent a Team Eric member message and then retracted the message. Did anybody see that?
I didn't see it. I was looking at the travesty that is 1.4 million views when it should.
Yeah, it basically said can't wait for No Way Home. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, I don't know why they retracted it. It wasn't anything vulgar or anything.
Okay, all right. Well, it says message retracted anyway. I don't even know who said it because it doesn't even tell me that. It just says that there was a message retracted. So that's interesting. Okay. All right. So anyway, very excited for this. I think that the animated features are definitely. It was Cal. Okay, Cal. Well, thank you for the chat there, even though I don't know why it got retracted. Cody says it's confirmed they actually did work on the two together. Okay, good.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't have a chance to look that up.
It just makes sense. It just makes sense.
Yeah. I'm very excited for it. Okay, so I'm curious in the chat. Let us know what you thought of the trailer. If you
haven't seen it yet, go watch it. Even though it does tell you, the disappointing news that it doesn't come out to October of next year, it's still worth watching. It doesn't tell you a lot about the film, but it does get you kind of hyped.
Right. Yeah. It's if you like animated superhero stuff, I don't know why you haven't watched Into the Spider-Verse, to be completely honest. I mean, it's literally one of the best things.
Yeah, because I admit I slept
music
on it.
And everything. So
I totally slept on until we were at Dragon Con. You always like, no, you're watching this.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic film. Soundtrack is amazing. I have no problems with Into the Spider-Verse. I think it's a great movie.
All right, so we're going to move on now and talk about Hawkeye. We had the 3rd episode this week. We are going to talk spoilers, so you're just aware. If you have any questions about it or you want to drop some comments and support the podcast, feel free to do a super chat. Otherwise, let's go ahead and jump into this. So this episode was very action heavy. There's a lot of action in this episode.
I enjoyed this episode a lot. I did.
And
a lot of
so
action.
The notes that I have over here, the big thing we got was Echo's backstory. So we found out a lot about Echo and, with her hearing loss and a prosthetic leg. I don't know if she has any other things that are,
that we need to know. I'm not sure.
But we found that out, and some of the stuff that her father was very. I don't know if because he was listed as being a part of the show, but I think he's only going to be in this episode. I mean, I wouldn't see why unless there's some other back flashback scene that we haven't seen. I mean,
for who?
For her father,
for
her biological father.
Oh yeah. I don't think it's gonna be anything else.
But one of the things we got in there was her uncle, who was obviously Kingpin, who was off.
So here's the thing, right? I just want to mention this real quick. If it's not Vincent, there's no reason to not show him there because we wouldn't know who that is. I want to make that very clear. This is a Marvel red herring, right? If it ends up not being him, because it's just to mess with us, and that will make me very angry.
Well, it makes me angry because it plays into the WandaVision stuff.
Right, because here's the thing. If it is Vincent and they show him, the only people that would know that that's Kingpin are the people that saw the Netflix series, right? If it's someone else who is not, if that's not Vincent and they show him on screen,
it wouldn't matter.
Then we wouldn't know who it is and it wouldn't make a difference. Like, oh, that's her uncle. Okay, cool. And then later be like, oh my God, it's Kingpin. So if it's not Vincent, that I'm telling you now, that's going to really piss me off.
Yeah.
I'm just letting everybody know now. If it's not Vincent, I'm going to be very mad. Not because I need him in the series, not because it's because of this scene. It is specifically because of this scene, because not showing him was just to get us talking about it. That's it.
What about you, Omega?
Yeah, it better be Vincent D'Onofrio, or I'm going to riot. I will take points off for every score. If it's like, yeah, this episode is great, but I'm taking points off because it's not Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that.
Some people have been comparing the hand on the screen to his hand from Law and Order to try and find out if it's actually him. And they're saying that it is his hand.
Well,
Like,
here's the thing, and the little laughter or whatever. When I think, what did he pinch her cheek? I can't remember. But I think the little laughter there was like you could probably do voice analysis. Here's the thing: it doesn't even have to be that actor. It's just implied that you're not showing him.
Here's the reason why that's a problem to me. The first problem is, and this plays off of what Cyber was saying, is by not showing him is going to lead people to believe that it is Vincent.
Exactly, because that's the only reason why you wouldn't show him.
So when it's not him, which I think in this case it may not be him. When it's not him, we're going to have a whole slew of people on social media attacking the series for baiting them.
And it's going to hurt the series when in reality it didn't need Vincent to be good.
Well, the other thing is that they're absolutely right in this instance. Like with WandaVision, I said that there were some things that people were convincing themselves that was true, which wasn't, right? That it wasn't real. In this case, this scene in particular is baiting the audience. So if there are people that are mad that they did that, they have every right to be now. I have no defense for that whatsoever.
So how far was this scene in? Because I'm actually trying to remember exactly what scene y'all were talking about.
It's when she's little. It's like the very beginning, really. It's like the first.
It's like
the show.
It is very early into the film. They're in a gym, right? And
it's where she's training as a kid.
Right. It's when she was training, and he comes up to her, and it's very small, which is why I'm saying not showing him is just to make us talk about it. But he comes over and you just see the arm, and I think he touches her. I think he touches her cheek. Her shoulder.
Yeah.
And so not showing him doesn't matter because we don't know who that actor is. We only know if it shows that it's Vincent. So
the thing is, the other thing is, and the thing that makes it even more absurd is if you're a comic book fan, you already know that Echo is connected to Kingpin.
Right. We know that's Kingpin.
You already know that. Yeah. So if you're not, here's the thing. If you are a comic book fan, it doesn't trick you. You know who that character is. And if you aren't a comic book fan and you didn't watch Daredevil, you wouldn't know that was.
You would just know that that's the uncle, but you don't know who that is.
Including him in that scene is literally bait.
Yeah, because I just went back and watched it. And I was like, "Yeah, oh come on, please, that has to be him.
It has to be him. If it's not him, that is the ultimate slap in the face for the series because it ruins the series when it didn't need him to be good because it's already good. I actually like the series.
The Kingpin thing for this series is the same thing that's going on with Spider-Man No Way Home. It's literally the same thing. There is rumors and rumors and rumors, and it's the same thing that happened with WandaVision. It's one of these things where if you're not going to pay it off, don't hide it because then people won't
one of the worst things WandaVision did was Ralph Boner.
Yep. Oh God,
it's one of the worst things it did. I didn't enjoy that. So yeah,
I would have rather him just been a copy from another multiversal thing or something. Like making him Ralph Boner just seems so stupid. Like anyway. Yes, there are people in the chat talking about Yelena. Yelena is going to be on the show. She's definitely a big part of the show. It's just we don't know how yet.
I'm thinking she'll be next episode or the episode after. I think ultimately, if she shows up, she'll probably obviously see that how things went and then become a good guy. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, because she's going to be the new Black Widow. Right. That again, not a secret. Not a big secret. By the way, though, I did love Echo's backstory. I think it was done really well.
Oh yeah, that was great.
We also got to see that her disabilities were actually benefits to her in combat, which is something that we don't get to see very often. Like when Clint tried to attack her in that fight, and he hit her leg.
Oh,
and that was kind of,
he's like, wait a minute.
Right. And then obviously we touch on the hearing loss. And I thought it was interesting because they cut the ropes off of his hand so he could actually speak to Echo because she's like you're deaf or whatever, and he's like, no, I just have a hearing loss.
I know basic sign language,
which was like bad because then she knew when they were fighting the way she could disorient him was to destroy his hearing aid, and so I was like, okay, that's not cool. So this is the other thing is I do believe that unless he could get some like Stark Tech version of a hearing aid, there's no way. Or Wakandan version of a hearing aid. There's no way he could go back into combat and fight because it would just be a big, huge problem.
No, but that's why I think that he's done. He doesn't want to do
the sunset of Clint Barton.
Yeah. So we get to see that, and that's awesome. And I actually like Echo. I think Echo's a cool character. Plus, we know Echo is getting a spinoff series on Disney.
Yeah, she's getting her own series. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was confirmed during the Disney Plus day or whatever they showed it. They didn't show her or anything. They just showed Echo like it's coming.
Right,
Okay.
right. Hero Journey said, I didn't like her backstory. The actress is actually deaf in real life, but the backstory is a sympathy for the devil crap. But she's been very vocal about being happy about the way that they're incorporating a deaf character into the series. So I think arguing about like how somebody's included is a little bit too much now. I think we've gotten to the point now where in order for people to be included, you just have to include them. That's just the way it is. And
no, they were saying like they really kind of like innovated in when it comes to shooting, especially if someone's deaf. They basically had like lasers to point in a direction where she needed to be, since they can't do call outs or anything.
They did the same thing with Makari on the Eternals. That was how they also did Makari as well. But yeah, I mean, so but the thing is that that speaking of that though, like I think that we have to understand that if it weren't for trying to make people included in this, they would not be included. So like, I think the backstory is fine. If there is something that's wrong with it and a member of the deaf community steps up and says, hey, this is an issue because of this reason, then I'd be willing to take a look at that and go, it's their perspective because that's their community. So in that sense, I get it. But I think as viewers who are able to hear, I think like nitpicking the backstory of someone who is deaf is a little weird, especially when I think it was pretty well, like I understood everything. It wasn't, I didn't watch it and go, that doesn't make sense to me. It all made sense to me. So Naruto says, I can't believe that next week we'll start hearing about No Way Home reactions. I mean, yeah.
Who got their tickets? I didn't.
I will say this.
We got tickets.
This is the thing about No Way Home is, as long as this is, I hate to say this, as long as they pay off all the little things that people want to see in the movie, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad.
No, you are 100% correct with that. That is an accurate statement. Doesn't matter if the film's good as long as they pay off what people have been wanting to see since this inception. So I don't expect the story to make a whole lot of sense, but magic.
So it says that we already knew Kingpin was going to be. I mean, this is something that I knew. Like, I don't think they were hiding the fact that Kingpin was going to be in the series.
The actor.
It's the actor playing Kingpin.
That's why I was saying specific to that scene. If you go back to listen to it, if you cannot show that actor, and then that confirms that it's Vincent, and if it's not, that's not a payoff.
Justin, no offense to you, but what does this word even mean anymore?
Oh God, yeah, I didn't get where he's coming from. Nah, because people were saying like being that it's mostly about Kate Bishop and not about Clint Barton because they're pushing the white male aside. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Woke is not that though. This character is from the comics. This is a story from the comics. All they're doing is adapting it for TV.
Yeah, and they're saying that even the comic is woke because they're pushing aside a white male, which I don't give a shit. Y'all had how many years of media where y'all were at the forefront? Now we're starting to get other people, and now y'all want to get all pissy about it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but I was going to say...
sorry for cussing. Sorry. It's just that really just
demonetized.
I do not disagree with you in that regard. I think that, like I was saying, like, woke, I said this before, woke has now transformed into whatever I don't like.
Yeah,
that's
pretty
what
much.
woke is now. It's like, if I don't like it, I'm going to call it woke. It did have a very specific meaning a couple of years ago, but it's been overdone. Actually, social media has ruined what woke actually means because they just use it for everything. And that's eventually what happens.
The SJW crowd, and then there's the anti-SJW crowd just bitching at each other back and forth. And I'm just sitting here like, I just want a good movie. I don't care.
Well, the other thing is that, and I have thought about this many times, but I've never really had I probably should do a stream about it at point or whatever. But we have to stop, like, as a culture, dictating when someone is allowed to participate in something. It's so weird to me. Like, everybody wants to see themselves as a superhero. Everybody does. And it's weird to me that people are like, oh, this group of people are not allowed to participate because 20 years ago, someone wrote this story and it has to be that exact story 20, 30, 40, 50 years later. It's like, it's the weirdest thing to me. I do not understand it. I don't understand it. Nothing that changes is erasing anything that's already out there. That's the thing. Like, it doesn't erase anything.
I've said this. I said it with The Walking Dead. I've said it with any other live action thing that you're adapting from a comic or even an animation. Actors get old, guys. They get old. So rather than trying to just rehash the Hawkeye Clint and creating a new actor in a universe that's moving forward, to pull Kate Bishop from the comics, who I didn't even know, right? I didn't read the comic. It didn't interest me, but that's because Hawkeye's still there. Like if I want to go read the Hawkeye that I'm used to, he's still there, right?
And there'll always be Hawkeye stories in the comics.
But for her, like seeing this story in the show and seeing how it's melding into the universe and where they're going forward with it, I actually really enjoy the story. I don't have any issues with it at all.
Yeah, and my thing is, especially just throughout comics and just out comic history, how many Flashes were there? How many Green Lanterns were there?
There's
how many Robins were there?
There's a Flash family that's like
as soon as they hit someone, as soon as they have a version of that character who's like either a woman or black or whoever, then people want to start bitching about it. When you had like all these different versions of this character, we have one that breaks the mold, and then when people want to bitch, say, "Oh, this is woke." Fuck off.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reality of it. And I do believe that a lot of people feel that way because they've allowed people to change the way they feel about stuff. Because I personally go into something, I just want to enjoy it. I don't care about any agendas, any stuff like that. Like I don't think about that stuff when I'm watching entertainment. I just want to like it or I don't like it.
I just want to be entertained. Until it's obvious and put in my face to where I'm like, they're trying too hard.
When they're trying too hard, when they have like the one thing, what was it? Was it like Arrow or Supergirl or something where some monster is trying to grab the one she was like, oh no, I caught no, no, you ain't gotta have consent. Like, shut the fuck.
Yeah, that was
that's that is stupid.
The last episode. That is
stupid.
But that's different to me. That's where the writers just take something and write it from like social media. They don't there's no nuance to it. But I will say this, the fact that me as a person can go to something and not worry about how it's represented comes from the fact that I have always been represented in everything. There is a white guy in everything, right? And so for people that are not represented, when they get to see themselves in those spaces, it matters to them. It matters to people. And Omega, I mean, obviously you know, coming into this, you have a big stake in some of these things because of the fact that you're a Black American. And so you get the opportunity to see characters like, you know, that you didn't see before. And so I think
finally.
Right. That's what I'm saying though. Like no one is taking something away from anybody else.
Yeah, it's like we're just adding more to it. Yeah.
They're adding more.
It's like even with, because some people say like with DC has been more, you know, progressive. Like not really, because when it had Static Shock, they did not believe in that character at all until that cartoon just took off.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like even still, it's like everyone's saying like, oh, they're just adding. No, we still got a long way to go before we even say everything is, you know, on par with everyone else or whatever.
I have a lot of
sure people,
this, you know.
Yeah, because I'm sure people bitch when oh god, I forgot his name. The Black Green Lantern guy. I forgot his name. He's actually my favorite. John Stewart. Holy crap, what's wrong with me? When John Stewart became a Green Lantern, then people probably bitched about that, which I'm like, nah, let me stop before I get all say other
I don't want to go too far into this. I whenever someone says that in regards to something that I'm watching, it always blows my mind a little bit because I have so much to say about it, and it could turn into a whole rant about my thoughts on this. But I don't think we should gatekeep people being represented in media because we have another version that we like. So this one shouldn't exist. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like this whole, like this is completely different, and we're going to wrap it up here, and I'll let you everybody say their piece here at the end. But the one thing I could think of that's kind of confusing to me is we have like 3 different identical versions of Superman in media right now that are kind of floating around, right? We got Brandon Routh, who's been in live action Superman. We have Tyler Hoechlin as a live action Superman, and we still sort of have Henry Cavill, who we don't know what's going to happen with his Superman. They're all Clark Kent, but just the thought of doing
a black Superman. Oh my god, this is just
and everybody loses their minds. You can't say you can't do this version because I like another version and therefore I can dictate the kind of media you can make. That's so strange to me. That's like going into a restaurant and going, I love cheeseburgers. Every other sandwich on the menu has to come off. All of them. Take your chicken sandwiches off, take everything off because I love cheeseburgers and cheeseburgers are the only true allowed sandwich in this building. That's what it is. And that's where I'm going to leave it at because I just think it's kind of wild that people still feel that way about stuff. So, Justin, I said this. Yeah, Justin, I'm not saying this to you.
Yeah, I'm not saying you are. It's just you brought it up, and it was like, it was just kind of like when you brought it up. We know you don't think that, but others do.
Yeah, and I'm sure you could go on and on, Omega. Like,
oh, geez, I can.
It, so, but anyway, anything else you want to add, Cyber, before we move on to the next?
Yeah,
topic?
I hate Omega. I hate him.
Okay, there we go. All right,
I hate him.
There we go.
True.
Yeah. So, where were we at in the show? Like,
yeah. So we were talking about Kingpin, and then Justin said that people say that Hawkeye is woke because it's got a female lead character, which I think is the most. Like, I know Justin didn't say it. He said,
you said other people, others have,
which is the most absurd thing I've ever heard. Like in recent, the most absurd thing I've heard in the last 20 minutes, probably. All right, so they were talking about Echo and why she said that. Someone said this, and I don't remember who said it was, but they said that Echo told Hawkeye that he would be better off without the hearing aid. And I think the reason why is because Echo is learned when you can't hear, you are very focused on what you're doing.
Basically
she's not distracted.
Yeah, especially from what other deaf people say, you just focus on your other senses. It's you lost one, but you just focus on hearing or smell or just feel or vibration. Or you just everything else is just kind of not enhanced. You just pay attention to more things.
I think maybe in the series that might actually come into play, where maybe his hearing aid goes out again and he has to learn differently. Because keep in mind, Echo's getting her own series. I'm pretty sure it's because she's going to be a hero and not a bad guy in that series.
Or
so
some anti-hero.
Right. So maybe she helps him get, we'll see. I don't know.
So we have that battle and Clint's hearing aid gets broken. And this is where the comedy from the episode kind of comes in, because they have to repair his hearing aid. So we have this whole, I think it's 10 minutes of the episode is them trying to get it fixed, and there's this banter between Kate and Clint, and so this is the bonding part of the episode where they're sort of bonding as characters, and Clint's son, I believe, calls his phone, and Kate has to interpret for him. It's actually a very touching scene because he's talking about coming home for Christmas and don't worry about coming home for Christmas, and it's one of those things where because there was so much action in the episode, it was that dip that they wanted to do. They do it in the movies. You always get a little dip here and there. And so I felt like that was a very interesting part of the episode.
I felt bad for him.
Well, that's what they want you to do.
Yeah, that was the intention, I think, of everything that was going on. Did you, because this is probably the low point before we get into all the crazy stuff. Did you guys enjoy the moments between Kate and Clint where they're out to eat and they're, he's ignoring her. He took his hearing aid out. All the funny stuff.
Yeah, it just was. I'm usually more of I need serious stuff in my shows. I do prefer that, but in this tone that they have set since episode 1, I've come to enjoy the banter between the two. Their chemistry is not perfect.
Yeah, I
do think there are instances where it doesn't hit properly, but it's not cringy in my opinion. It's still watchable, and it's still I chuckle, which is not something you see a lot of when I'm watching stuff that's supposed to make you laugh. So I did enjoy that scene.
Yeah, because it says a lot of
still not a fan of the dog.
Oh.
Anyway, I like the dog. So, but anyway, what I was about to say is Clint's usually kind of always the background character. He doesn't really say much, but then with him and Kate Bishop, he kind of becomes his humor actually finally comes out, and it's wait, what? So it's kind of he's actually really funny when he wants to.
Yeah. Also, the thing is, you can tell, and Jeremy Renner's doing a great job of this, of playing this Hawkeye that doesn't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, he's done.
It's very much like Die Hard, it is in a way. Because
this is Die Hard stretched out.
He just wants to go home for Christmas. He just wants to go watch movies with his kids. That's all he wants to do. He doesn't want to.
And Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I don't care what Bruce Willis says.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, so he is in I don't give a shit mode. Basically, he's I don't want to deal with this. I was trying to save you, so I wouldn't have to deal with this or whatever. And that's kind of the fun part between that. Now we're gonna move on. We do get there's a lot of action in a car chase scene that we have, which go ahead.
I was gonna say this is another deep cut to the Netflix series because this scene is very much the hallway scene from Daredevil or the elevator scene, or was the elevator scene from season 2 where it was all done in one shot. They didn't do it as well because it did since it's a car chase scene, you did have to see the other car's perspective at one point. But to have the camera move and everything, that was definitely, I feel like, another jab, which is a good thing if it pays off.
Yeah.
But it was a really cool scene. I enjoyed it.
So one of the things that she'd been talking about in the last 2 episodes was trick arrows. She really wanted to use trick arrows. So we got a lot of trick arrows. We had suction cup arrows. We had an arrow that put like a glaze of paint or whatever on
purple
the
goop.
We had an exploding arrow. And then we had the most exciting arrow I think we've ever had, which was
Pym particle arrow.
The Pym particle arrow that was included with the with the giant size serum or whatever.
Yeah.
And so this giant arrow just goes right into the bridge, which I thought was kind of cool. I didn't really expect that, honestly, in the episode. But I thought the car chase scene was done really, really well. It was also fun that he wanted her to drive, and then she was like, "No, you drive," and then she wanted to shoot the arrows, and so there's all this stuff going on. This was a much needed action segment of the series because it's been a lot of like talking moments over the first 2 episodes. So I felt like this one was the first one we got like some real solid, like full on action. And it didn't disappoint me. I thought it was a really good scene. And, Cyber, you talked about the amount of money that was spent on the show. Do you feel like they cut any corners financially with this scene, or did it feel okay?
I feel like this is probably where a lot of the budget went, which is why the first episode was so. I think it was the first or second one, where the texting and the CG for the bottle and stuff. This one definitely stepped it up, and that's probably why they were probably putting a lot of money in the later back half episodes. Which, if that's the case, I'm fine with it. I didn't hate it that you could see it, but I could see it. So.
What about you, Omega? What did you think of this car chase?
Hero's Journey is kind of trolling me in the chat here, which I don't mind. It's funny because he said, ran on how logically the arrow actually pierced the bridge. So I was thinking about, I was like, yeah, since the mass doesn't really change with the Pym particles. Oh no, it's just kind of like the same mass, but anyway, with the velocity that is going down, it probably actually would go a little bit into the bridge, probably depending on how fast it was dropping. But
I would assume that the rest of it collapsed because of the starting process of it. So it wouldn't have gone the whole way through it, I think.
Yeah, it probably would have impacted the result halfway through.
Right,
So I mean, it was like that. The nerd in me kind of would analyze that, but I don't care.
At the same time, I'll say at the same time,
it was an arrow that was about this long that goes to like a telephone spot. Goes to telephone.
They literally shot an arrow with goop, like it's not. That if that's what you're worried about,
cognitive dissonance is just out the door on this part. It's like, you know what, this is a cool effect. It's fun. I don't care.
Cody here has a super chat. This is an Easter egg from the episode. It says there's actually an Easter egg to Michael Kemp. And he says from Daredevil season 3, was Michael Kemp the guy that was trying to get help from them and was connected to Rikers Island or something like that? I feel like that's who that was. The name sounds very familiar. It's been a while since I watched Daredevil season 3, so I don't know 100%. But
I only watched Daredevil season 3 once.
Oh, that's a Daredevil thing. Yeah, I wouldn't know about that. I'm sitting here trying to look it up.
Yeah, I believe he.
I watched season 1 and 2. We're actually going back through 1 right now multiple times. But season 3,
I can't remember if he just got help from Murdoch or if it was Nelson and Murdoch. I think it was Nelson and Murdoch. Anyway, we're going to talk about. I have a little list of a few Easter eggs we'll talk about here in a moment. I'm sure I didn't get every one of them, but so we had that, and then we get the Kate's like, look, we can track down. We can use the software from my mom's security firm or whatever. So let's go to the house, and we'll go in and get into the system. And she's like, nobody's home, and so they go into the house, and she starts trying to break into the code or whatever, and it looks like her password has been suspended or something like that. And Clint's kind of looking around, and you can see he's kind of wondering, like, why are all these like really cool swords and weapons in this house? Like, what's going on with this? And then he walks the corner, and Jack is there
with the Ronin sword.
With the Ronin sword, and holds it right at Clint's neck. And so that's kind of where we leave the episode.
It's a prop, YouTube. It's a prop.
Yeah, it's a prop.
It's a prop, YouTube.
It's for LARPing.
It is actually.
But so I'm expecting that we're going to pick up the next episode with a fight between Clint and Jack.
Yeah, with this scene, what I didn't even know it like ended out, because I was like right over here. I was playing like Yakuza 7 or something while I was watching it. I just see him put the sword up to his neck. I was like, oh shoot, what's going on? Wait, the credits? What?
Yeah, I actually didn't think it was going to leave off there. to be honest.
Yeah. So one of the things that we've mentioned many times is that we're starting to like the series aspect more than we do the movies, because they can tell a bigger story. But I'm going to die on this hill. 6 episodes is not enough because you miss out on a lot. I really think it needs to be like 8.
Yeah, things better pick up real quick. Like it
because
needs to
we're halfway through. This is the halfway.
Yeah, we're halfway through. Yeah, we got to go like sprint straight to the end on this one.
Yeah. So Robert here with a $5 super chat and a Team Eric member says, aha. Oh, Aja. Okay, Aja. I guess that's how you pronounce the name there. Anyway, he made a unique style for Hawkeye while at Marvel, making it theirs. Right. We're talking about the actual, because he's the artist that did the series that a lot of the artwork that Hawkeye is based on, like even the end credit scenes and everything or whatever. Is it wrong? He's complaining that it's used so much and wants more money. So this is one of those battles that becomes a legal thing, because of course, as an artist, somebody who makes art myself and have been in art all my life, there's a term called starving artist, and it's a real thing. Artists very rarely get what they should get for the work that they make. It's just the reality of it. A lot of times artists don't even become profitable until they're dead, and then everybody wants their art because they're no longer making it anymore. So it's like if I drew a picture of like a toilet now and it's like not good or whatever, and people are like, I hate it.
Oh God, don't get me started on Andy Warhol.
And then like 20 years later, they're like, well, this is the only toilet picture that he ever painted, so now we have
it's a freaking toilet. Who cares?
Right. But we're watching in real time artists who are contributing and writers who are contributing to this art form that are seeing their products blow up and become profitable, and they've already been paid for their work.
Yeah,
that's the problem. They've already been paid. Like, this is why people left, like Todd McFarlane and everybody left from Marvel years ago, was because when you're in the think tank working on a project for a company, everything that you make in that space becomes property of that company, because you dropped that idea in a room with other people and you made it for that company. This is why a lot of writers can't release things, why they can't finish stories, because once you do that, you agree legally that stuff belongs to the company. And that's one of the issues.
Because you're on company time too.
Yes, like with The Witcher in CD Projekt Red, the actual author of The Witcher, they came to him, with the idea of wanting to make a video game out of it. He's some old guy in Poland. He doesn't care about video games. He was like, no, just give me my money straight up. You'll never make money off of this. Fast forward several years later, 3 games later, The Witcher's an incredible series, and now he's basically saying, no, it was like when the show was about to be made. Now he's like, okay, I want X amount of millions of dollars. And CD Projekt Red, where it's like, no, that's way too much. We will work with you though. So they eventually came up with a deal, which the author, he deserves. Yeah, of course he deserves what he wanted for this work. But in CD Projekt Red was really to work with him. He's lucky that they're really to work with him,
because they don't have to.
Yeah, Will's company be like, no, we paid you, piss off.
There's another side to this also, and I'm not siding with the corporate stuff.
Oh, no, not at all.
But the corporations could also get in trouble. Like, say for example, you work for them and you drop an idea about Ocean Man or something, and you do it during you do a meeting. You're in a meeting with a bunch of people, and you say Ocean Man, right? And you don't have this prerequisite contract where everything you do on company time is owned by the company, and they go and they make Ocean Man. Then you can go to court and go, that was my idea. They don't have the right to use it, even if you used it in a company meeting, if there's no contract like that. So literally it's both sides protecting themselves. That's the way it works. Like, they're saying that if you have an idea that you're going to say in the office or use for our company, we own it. And if you have ideas that you don't want us to have, don't bring it into the office, basically. So when they made this Hawkeye series, the question is, did he or do they have any idea it would ever become what it is now? And if the answer to that is no, then it makes a very tough argument for him to say that he deserves all the money for that when he's already signed off on the art that he sold to Marvel.
Yeah.
It's like if you're an artist and you work for Disney and you make a version of Mickey Mouse, that's not your Mickey Mouse. That's Disney's Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
So
if for all this copyright BS, blame Disney. Seriously, look it up. Blame Disney for all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the way that works. Well, it's not just Disney. All the companies do this. They all
no. Disney was like the lawsuit Disney had for when it came to copyright way back like I want to say like the 20s or whatever, 1920s or whatever. Blame Disney for all of this mess.
Well, yeah, it's
way too long to get into.
I get what you're saying. What I'm saying though is that companies have a version, like all companies have a version of this type of contract. And they might have been the beginning. They might have been the ones that started it.
Yeah, started.
Everyone has one now. All of them have it. It's just the way it is. And could it be changed? I mean, maybe. There's a lot of antiquated laws that need to be changed. Like there could be something like if I'm an artist and I go to work for Marvel and I put in my contract with them that if I make something for you and you use it in other materials that I get a cut of that, then legally they have to give it to me.
Yeah, but if you don't in the contract,
if you don't establish that in the contract beforehand,
it's like with the Witcher author. Yeah, like with the Witcher author, when CD Projekt Red first came to him, they either said we could either pay you up front or we can pay you royalties. That's why he said you're not making money off this. Give me my money now. And then now the series made all this money. Now he went back and said, "Okay, give me my money."
It's a game of chance. It's just like gambling. I mean, when you negotiate a contract, look, okay, so I'll put it in perspective and then we'll wrap this up. Like,
okay,
as a DJ, I have individual contracts that I send out when I'm working gigs at different places. It's been a while. It's been 2 years because of the quarantine and everything, whatever. But before that, I would send out a contract and I had very specific things in that contract that people may look at and go, why does he need that? What's the reason for that being there? Well, it's because I've had instances where that has been a problem before. And I learned that if I don't put it in my contract with new people, it can be abused. It can be manipulated. So every series of contracts as time goes on changes. So maybe it's possible that we need to change the way contracts work, but that's not something we can do. That's something that either the artists and the writers need to do or something that the corporations need to do. And I can guarantee you it's not in their best interest to do that. So if it's going to change, it's going to be on the creator side.
Yep.
And that's stuff like this may set a standard for that. This may be something that changes that. I don't know. Do I think they should pay him more money? Absolutely. Artists don't get paid enough as it is. Do I think that legally they're obligated? Unfortunately, right now, it doesn't look like they are. So it's whether they want to be in the good graces of the fans or not. And that's ultimately what it is. And we'll see what they do. But I can assure you, Disney does stuff behind closed doors. That's why the Black Widow lawsuit disappeared overnight, basically.
Oh,
so
there
settled. We go. Yeah. And she was very happy with that settlement because nothing else was said about it.
He's like, look, here's money. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Here's your hush money. It's just like anything, any large corporation. Like years ago, I dealt with like an injury situation where it went on for 4 years. And finally they were like, look, we may have to pay you, X amount of money in court, but we'll give you 70% of that possible payment for you to drop the charges and walk away, because they feel like because these companies, they know the law. They pay people to understand the law. They know if they go to court, there is a risk on losing X amount of money. And they weigh that and they go, if we give them this amount, it's close to what they could possibly win. But in reality, they're worried that they may lose even more because they may be set up as a landmark case that decides something later on, down the road or whatever. So that's why they call it hush money. They want you to shut the F up, basically. That's what it is. Anyway, but I don't want to leave it on a bad note. I enjoyed this episode of Hawkeye. I thought it was really good. I'm excited to see where we go in next week's episode. This is like the 4 or 5 minute warning. We're going to wrap everything up here. So if you have anything you want to ask that's not going to take us 20 minutes to talk about, feel free to drop it in there or whatever. Anyway, but yes, we are getting closer and closer, not this weekend, but then we're 2 weeks away from our Spider-Man No Way Home review. Apparently somebody in the comments was saying that there's a leak of the soundtrack and it's got theme music for both Maguire and Garfield on it. And I don't know. I mean, is it legitimate? Is it real? At this
point, I'm just like, I'll believe it when I see it.
That's what I say, man. Like, they're going out of their way to not show us those actors. And I think I think it's just to build hype, but at the same time, I think it's a travesty because they are part of the film and they should be also promoting it.
I feel bad for them because they get harassed all the time about it.
Right.
They can't say
and what if they're not in the film and they've been getting harassed? That's the point that I'm like making. Like Andrew Garfield was just doing his tour for his movie that he did do. And they're not even
or something.
Whatever it is, the movie might even be trash. I don't know, but the point is that the entire time they're doing this interview, they're like, "Well, we got to ask you about that Spider-Man." It's it is.
Yeah, dude has no idea.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to get to the Easter eggs because everybody had some great questions, and so it went on forever. Needless to say, there were a few. I'm going to quickly talk about them. There's one about Hawkeye where we talk about what is it, capoeira, the martial arts or whatever, and the concept of a dragon when her father says it lives in a different world. The Fat Man Auto Repair, which is where the tracksuit mafia works at, which again just means
another Kingpin reference.
Let's see, let's go through here. Clint claims that Black Widow killed the ninja and was there when it happened. In a way, he wasn't lying. And the Challenger chase scene is from the comic book series, except in that one, it's got Kate driving and Clint is the one firing the arrows. And that's just a few of the quick little Easter eggs.
Well, it's like kind of the little nod to his comic costume with the H on his forehead with the wings.
Yeah.
Thought that was funny.
That was funny. He's like, I would never wear that.
He's like, no, this is stupid.
Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I want to know in the chat before we go, what was your score of this week's episode of Hawkeye? And then I'm going to ask you guys what your score of Hawkeye is, and you can pick who goes first there.
Yeah, you go first.
You want me to go first?
Who are you pointing to? You want me to go first? I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It was great. I thought it was very good. Very good.
You actually like something?
The point off is the dog.
Yeah, but Omega, the episode, I don't like. I'm kind of agreeing with Cyber. I would give it a 9. I think it was about as perfect as you can get when it comes to like an episode of TV. So
yeah, I was about to give maybe like an 8.5. I feel bad now. I mean, maybe because it ended on a cliffhanger. I was like, I want more, but then again, that's a good thing.
I was going to ask you, why would you give it an 8.5? So he's taking a point off for the dog, right? That's the point you're taking off of there. I'm taking a point off because of the Kingpin sort of misdirect. I feel like that's a little bit.
All my scores will change if that is a
right. And Omega, so why are you giving it 8 point? What did you not like about it that would make it an 8.5?
Honestly, there wasn't a thing about it this episode I didn't like.
So then it should be a 10.
Yeah, it probably should be about like a 9 or so.
Yeah. If you didn't have a problem with it, but you don't think it's perfect, I think it's fair to give it a 9. That's fair. So
yeah, really, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode.
I saved my 10s for the ones that had me excited and jumping out of my chair. This one didn't do that, but it was still solid. So I give it a 9 out of 10. So the chat's giving it, I see a 10. I see an 8.
It's an 8 between 8s and 10s. Yeah.
If you give it less than an 8, I'm going to be side-eyed at you, like going, what are you talking about? Like,
Introverted gave it a 7.5.
Oh, wow.
I'll say that's still fair.
That's fair, but
I would say 7.5. Like Introverted, I want to know what you didn't like about it. Why don't you drop in the chat what you didn't like?
That's kind of, I was like an 8.5, 9, kind of fluctuating in between there. It's like, it was still a good movie, but it wasn't like a movie. It's still a good series, but it was kind of like...
Oh, it was a typo. It was a typo.
Oh,
it was a typo.
Right. So no, I'm only, so my thing is I do joke a little bit. Like when I say I'm giving somebody a side, I'm just kind of joking. You can give it whatever score you want to give it. I don't care. But I am curious. Like when we're talking about it, I like to find out what people liked about it, what they didn't like about it. And for me, like I've gotten a little bit more strict on my scores because I feel like if I can't find anything wrong with it, dark side. Well, if I can't find anything wrong with it, it's hard for me to not give it a 10. But if I'm not super excited, I don't feel like I should give it a 10. So for me, a 9 is basically a 10, but without the jumping out of a seat. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, I mean, like the 9 for me is just because, look, it had everything I needed. I didn't have anything about it that I really disliked other than the Kingpin reference. And then, like I said, the dog. The dog.
Triple X, and if Cyber likes something, that means it's great.
That's what I'm saying, right? So in this instance, it's above average. It gave me everything I wanted. There's no reason to deduct points. So you get a 9.
Super Dude said a 5 out of 10. I feel like that's a troll.
My God.
A 5 out of 10. I feel like that's
Arrow was better.
I'm not going to argue that Arrow is not better.
Arrow was a really good show, guys.
But Arrow still had season 4, so just remember that.
Yeah, and I do want to make a quick contrast difference because I didn't like. Was it Mia, his daughter?
Yes,
I didn't like her taking over the mantle because of how they wrote it.
Yeah.
Whereas Kate Bishop I like the way they're writing this. So
first of all,
it has nothing to do with it.
I would have felt better if we would have just found Mia in the future. And she was in Arrow.
Exactly.
The way they did it on the show, because on
the
show
way it was
like,
written, it was so bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
Anyway, well, that's where we're going to wrap it up. Thank everybody so much for stopping in. We will be back next week for the 4th episode, almost at the end of Hawkeye already, the 4th episode. And, we'll see if anything else comes out. And I'm going to dig into this like soundtrack thing for Spider-Man and see what it says. Cause I'm curious if it actually is, because everybody's saying it's legit, but I want to know for sure. So
I will dig into that as well. And you guys can dig into my twitch.tv/cyberninja channel where I have been streaming in the last few days. I think I've already done like 15 hours of streaming. So the new chapter of Fortnite's out. And even if you don't like it, Spider-Man's in it. Right. So give it a look. Give it a look. You don't have to see me when I'm live. You can go watch the VODs. It's fine.
Starting, I have a brand new.
Yeah, he got jealous, chat, that my webcam is better than his, and he asked me what webcam I have, and lo and behold, he now has an Elgato face cam. I'm just saying.
I've taken out and plugged it in, but it's too widescreen right now, so I need to.
It's got a huge. That's why my setup is completely different right now.
I got a new microphone. It's a Shure XLR mic.
I don't stream anywhere near enough to justify purchasing a new camera. This thing's old, so I probably wouldn't need a new one.
I like my Wave microphone. I think for a USB mic, it's great, but going XLR is the way to go for podcasting and for streaming down the road. So he's definitely got a better mic.
Cut the check.
Cut the check.
Anyway, anything you need to shout out, Omega? Your DVR
no,
not safe for work stuff on it or what? Like what's happening?
No, actually, the last one I posted was fairly safe for work. Actually, I've been doing a lot of mostly safe for work stuff. Still, got some ideas. Just post. I haven't really posted anything just yet, but yeah, if you want to check out my 3D waifus, check out my DeviantArt page, Omega /DeviantArt. Not on the streaming side, not really doing anything there. Just that and. Just going on a job hunt again. I'm still employed. Just kind of look for something else. That's it.
I'm looking for something else.
My hours are awful. My hours are absolutely awful. So I'm just looking for something else.
All right. Well, we're out of here. We'll see everyone next week. Take care and good night.